Yeah, I'd like to tease out a couple of issues there that you've raised in my mind. One is, as a new religion, I've got to say it's particularly unattractive because um, there's sin, all right, and there are high priests telling us all what's right and what's wrong. There are a couple of things that are seriously missing. There seems to be very little love, certainly not for your enemies. And redemption seems to require our own self destruction, which is not exactly loving either. These are massive shifts. I mean, in many ways, it's important to understand the religious history of the West because there are many ups as well as downs. So you had the horrors of burning people at the stake for daring to disagree until people realised it was not Christian, it was barbaric, and it was also dumb. And we started to learn to live with one another's deepest differences. That is unique. It is not what most people down through the ages and even on the planet today experience in their day-to-day lives. But it's being dissipated very rapidly. If you dare to disagree today, you will be somehow shut out of human discourse. You are less than human. So it is very ugly, isn't it, at a personal level? It's very lacking in love. It talks tolerance, it talks empathy, it talks inclusion, it talks diversity. In reality, it's very ugly.
Yeah, I mean, it is very ugly. I think it is very ugly. And I kind of, again, it's almost, it's, why would you do that? For a start, most of those that are driving this forward are actually, in my opinion, white, upper middle class liberals. Right. So I think there's an elision there between this idea that you're seeking some kind of form of like amorphous social justice. It's a way of almost dealing with your own privilege. You know, this constant idea of white privilege. So I think it is quite ugly, and then I also don't. I think it's also very dangerous. I think this is one of the reasons why I've kind of got written about this quite a lot, because what we have in the West is a broadly very, very tolerant society, very progressive and tolerant society. If we look at opinion polling in the UK, for example, it's one of the most tolerant anti-racist societies in history. I mean, the EU did a massive poll, I think, in 2019 of public opinion across the whole of the EU. The UK pretty much came out on top. I mean, we've got a mixed race population, very multi-ethnic, multiracial. But that has taken a great deal of effort and work on the part of ordinary people to arrive at that kind of, broadly multi-ethnic, multiracial thing, and it requires reinforcement. So when you have people that come along and say, talk about white privilege, especially in the context of when you look at the data on some of the most privileged groups in society, take my sector, for example, university sector in the UK. The most disadvantaged group, and this has been going on for a very, very long time, at least a decade, the most disadvantaged group in the UK university sector are white working class men in particular. And universities have known about this for a very, very long time. Okay, white working class men are the least likely to go to university. And if we believe that universities are a kind of an engine of equal opportunity, that's a structural reinforcement of disadvantage for white working class men. That's a very, very established fact. That's not controversial in any way. Right? And what have universities done in the last 2 years about this? They've gone hyperdrive on picking up this critical race theory ideas, talking about white privilege and white fragility. Now, so it's something I think very, very morally obscene in that. We have very clear data. If you look at on a per capita basis, ethnic minorities are massively overrepresented in the UK university system, especially amongst the student body. I think it was Oxford last year took on 33% of all of its new undergraduate intake were drawn from ethnic minorities, which is a great story. It's But so we have, so yeah, it's very unforgiving. It does seem, and then I can't see what the end point of this is. It just seems to basically be about a desire to guilt trip people. But the danger in that is what happens when people say, I'm not going to be guilt tripped anymore. They've been told that they're racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, and they've been castigating all these things. And the danger point in that is what then happens when that, if people say, well, I don't feel guilty, why should I feel guilty? Where then do you go from that? Where do you go from that? That's the question, I think.